No, so yeah, so the stage where he says, before that the sutra says nirvichara, so you are thoughtless and you have already cleansed your mind, and then it becomes adhyatma prasada. That is what the 47th sutra says. So that gives you adhyatma prasada, and thereafter then he says that is the Rutambhara Prajna. So that's how the Ritam Prajna. So it is the stage where you possess the truth. You don't go to it by or acquire it. You're not trying your, as that day we were talking perhaps, that it's not logical exercises, or it is not through the, because next sutra he says, it is other than what you can see by pramana and, neither by your direct sensory experience, nor by inference, nor even by agama. This Rutambhara Prajna is other than that, the stage. So which I was trying to correlate all these things and trying to say what we were discussing other day, that there is a intuitive mind which is above the logic, our reason, what we call as mana and all that, so layers of that. And thereafter when you go next to it, that comes the real prajna and all, where the intuition, Sri Aurobindo says it is the higher mind, and then there is a intuitive mind, illumining mind, and then the over mind, and then he connects it with the supramental force. So next is the, so I was trying to put that in my paper. So, and therefore the Patanjali Sutra we can use along with these other scriptures to find out the better meaning, because I was starting with the translations. I said I saw a number of translations. People are putting it in a very different way, which is that way because they are still under the command of the Western psychological ideas. So they put it as a mind, some people put it as a intellect, something they put. Nothing actually works what maybe Patanjali or all this Sri Aurobindo and all that. Am I right? This is, so their translations miss because I put the first slide. These all like blind man leading blind man, as per the Isha Upanishad. That first one also doesn't know what is mind and life and what is consciousness, and they are trying to find out the entire psychology based on some neuron firing and some chemical processes, which is not going to give you the solution. So that exactly was my topic. So I wanted to, like other day also I was discussing. So if you can.
What happened? There was one doctor who was a psychotherapist. He was working in England.
Yeah.
Then after 25 years, he is an Indian. He felt I am cheating my patients. I am not giving them the true knowledge or true treatment. Then there was one Sachidananda, an army colonel turned Swamiji in Kanyakumari Ananda Ashram. He was perhaps a Kannadiga. He came and approached Swami. I feel after 25 years of practicing psychotherapy, I am cheating my patients. Then what should do? Then Swamiji referred to him to Swami Abhedananda's Vedic Psychology. It is one volume, complete works of Swami Abhedananda. One volume is dedicated to psychology. Then this man studied. Then he found, instead of proceeding from intuitive knowledge to outward knowledge, we are traveling from physically induced memories to spiritually induced. It is in the wrong direction of time. Then he studied Patanjali. Then based on that, he wrote a book, Vedic Psychology. Then that man sent his student Vijaya, who is an MD doctor. You go to Vivekananda Kendra, you present 2 copies of the book there, you stay there for 5-6 days, and you try to tell people, don't follow the Western psychology. That lady came and stayed here for 6 days. She presented 2 copies of the book of Vedic Psychology to our library we have got. That is one thing. Second, I think one Raghunath Shastri, name may be wrong. He wrote a book for Oxford, Indian Psychology. Then I researched, I could not get the book in book exhibition. Therefore, what I did, I was searching it very much in mind. One Neelanjani Sanyal, she edited Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture seminar on Indian psychology. And then the keynote address was this Raghunath Sharma. Actually, he summarized his entire Oxford University book in that book. Therefore, my purpose was served. Then he also says how instead of proceeding from inside to outside, you are traveling from it. I used to have a joke that if somebody says, an elephant's head is a frontward projection of its tail, I said you have got an excellent sense of humor, but the whole thing is wrong.
Very true.
Therefore, Shankara again and again talks about intuitive psychology. It comes with it is stimulated by the ultimate being, depending upon the cleanliness of your instrument to absorb the truth. You are presenting it in the manner. Therefore, that Vedic psychology, if you get time, you please refer the book. It should be available on net also. And then this Neelanjan Sanyal's Indian Psychology, Institute of what is secret of psychology or depth of psychology. It is the Institute of Culture seminar report. It is very cheap. Excellent book. And then the keynote address was by a man who wrote that Oxford University's book on Indian psychology. That gives a very basis of it. And then about mind, there are so many. The problem with Western mind is, the Western concept of mind is, it always thinks mind as a byproduct of the body. Roger Penrose, who has done a lot of work on mind, he got his Nobel Prize long after his student got eminence, Stephen Hawking's teacher. Then when he got his Nobel Prize, he came to India. Then people asked him, does every mental reaction can be recorded by the scientific instruments? Then he bluntly said, science has not improved that much. Every small changes in the thought and the chemical, atomic and cellular and synopsis relations, they cannot be, synopsis you understand.
Right.
It cannot be recorded with the instrument. Our instruments are not sophisticated enough to record every movement of the brain. Then these people, this newspaper wala was trying to put his ideas into his mind. Probably, वो तो भुगता भुगिया ऐसा जो सब लोगों को देखा होगा. He bluntly said, no, our science has not come to that level that it can understand, record and create a database on every reaction of the brain. That interview of Roger Penrose also, the Emperor's New Mind.
Emperor's New Mind, yeah.
Book.
And Shadows of the Mind.
Shadows of the Mind, the Emperor's New Mind also. These two you should have. Then Abhedananda's book is very good.
Abhinanda is same like Swamiji is
Yes.
Guru Bandhu, same.
Yeah.
Acha, colleague.
At some stage, he came out and where Vishwaji is staying, in that road, it is called Radhakrishna Road. They got Ramakrishna Vedanta Bhatt. That, of course, his complete books are available. In
available,
Ramakrishna
yeah.
also they sell it.
Yeah.
And then you require only one volume, that Vedic psychology. Therefore, they give you a complete, this proceeding from intuition and preparing the various levels of the body-mind intellect complex to absorb that intuitive message. That is yoga. Preparing your body-mind intellect to absorb that intuitive message is the very purpose of yoga. Otherwise, your 0 watt bulb cannot accept a 1000 watt positive current.
Is it the same what they says Aadhar means this is the receiver, we have to be able to be a right receptacle to receive it, right?
Yeah.
So otherwise it will not be able to hold it as you said.
Hold it. Forget about holding it, it cannot even understand it.
Understand it, yeah.
It will not mean anything.
True.
Anything means to you because it touches your psychology, makes you happy, makes you relaxed, makes you cry. Therefore, there are 4 bases of yogi psychology. One is peace. Second is productivity. Third is creativity. Fourth is happiness. Therefore, any descendant of the intuitive knowledge into the various levels, it should be tested by these 4 Gs. Does it give you peace? Does it give you happiness? Does it increase your productivity? Does it increase your creativity? Creativity is putting old facts into a new combination or discovering new facts. Does it help you? Then that's why when Swamiji was talking yesterday, English language molds itself to suit his thoughts. His English was extraordinary. Any student of English literature would be stunned by Swamiji's knowledge. The same with Sri Ramakrishna, same with Ramana Maharshi. Language molds itself to receive the idea of this saint. Ramakrishna's English, Ramakrishna's language, Ramana's language, it is different. It is not Tamil or English or anything. It is absolutely, every word acquires a new meaning, new dimension, new impact when Ramakrishna pronounces it.
Apparently, they are simple words.
Very simple.
What I
words.
found is yesterday, not to take away credit from anyone, lot of speakers before Swami Niranjanandaji, they quoted so many sutras, they were quoting, they are talking so much scholarly and all. And then Swamiji said, I won't tell you philosophy because that is all learned and intellectually built up. And I have seen it. I think that's the point, it's a pratyaksha, it's an anubhav, experienced. He 3 or 4 lines he said, that is difference between you and me. He was telling that is you means he was talking to the general people how you look at yoga. Yoga is not just doing some asanas, not even philosophy, not even philosophy alone. I think it was very good.
Again and again, Vinobaji says, Darshana doesn't require pramana. It is pratyaksha.
Pratyaksha.
You have to experience it. Ramakrishna used to say, a child tells mother, Mother, when I feel hungry, you please wake me up from my sleep. But when you feel hungry, you will get up on your own. Nobody has to tell you that you have got hungry. That is the difference between pratyaksha and all other pramanas. Then Swami Veereshwarananda, Ramakrishna Mission President, who has written a very enlightened Bhashya and Brahma Sutra, he says another meaning of pramana is context. A word acquires new meaning in the context you put it. For example, I expect you at 9 o'clock. You come at 10 o'clock. क्या आप इतने जल्दी आ गए? It doesn't mean आप जल्दी आ गए.
It is a व्यंग, yeah.
It is exact opposite.
Yeah.
Therefore, Swami Veereshwarananda says one of the impactful meaning of pramana is the context. Context is not expressed in words. It has to be understood in its totality. That is where a single piece of information is related to greater and greater pieces of information until it covers the whole
thing. I remember one because when I was doing this artificial intelligence and all that computer and all, no, connecting that, and during that time one person said the problem with their system is they are not getting the context of it. They go to the they go to the every piece of it. They understand 1, 2, 3 individual things, but they are not getting in what context this is, no, right? As you said, so there is some they are struggling there.
One of the greatest contribution of Indian psychology is it is the context that adds meaning to the individual. There is a word. The word means different in a different context. That the Arthur Koestler in his in his act of creation, he mentions again and again. It is the context that provides the meaning. For example, Narasimha Rao used to say, when I am in Congress party, I am Hanuman. When I am alone, I am a monkey. So, when you are in your totality, where your functional efficiency at your best, you are a different man. People used to say, when Balakrishna is in Northeast, he is a different man. It's not the Balakrishna whom we see. He totally changes because he is in his very natural background. Narasimha Rao in Congress party.
That day you mentioned about Arthur Koestler's 2-3 books. One was, I think, Act of Creation. Other was Janus and...
Janus and then
And then
it's a
Jung's
series of
this idea of archetypes also.
Yeah.
So what was that actually? Because you said there are.
Carl Jung
Hmm.
is an Austrian psychologist
Hmm.
who put Freud in his place.
Hmm.
Otherwise, 1939, they have shortlisted his name for Nobel Prize. Had he been given Nobel Prize,
Hmm.
his concept of sex as the basis of all human relations would have been entrenched in the
Accepted.
Western psychology. It is Carl Jung, the Austrian philosopher, Austrian psychologist, who said there are other relations between man and nature. That is what we call dharma. Therefore, Arthur Koestler talks about four archetypes. One is the mischievous child, the second is the mother image, the third is the disembodied soul, the fourth is the concept of rebirth. Actually, it was there in the Old Testament also.
Hmm.
But when an Asian concept gets transferred to Europe, it suffers so much
Suffers
of
so much.
distortion. It is the greatest love of Jesus Christ himself. Jesus Christ was out and out an Asian.
Hmm.
He said for 18 years he lived with some Jain sadhus. Jain, very serious sadhu system was one Essene. He lived there, very severely practicing Jain sadhus. But unfortunately, when this idea, this philosophy, the methodology got transferred from Europe to, from Asia to Europe, it suffered so much of distortion.
One more point I remember was, in fact, we started from that. You said yin and yang
Uh,
is basically a combination of structured thinking and maybe
Spontaneous.
spontaneous thinking. Yeah. So what was what was that? Because I have heard yin yang more in the context people use it in the form of the Purush Prakriti, or I mean Shiva Shakti. That type of correlation people have made.
What happened, no?
But this one was new for me. This was a new thing for
The
me.
mischief started with Galileo.
Hmm.
Galileo said whatever cannot be quantified,
Yeah.
cannot be measured, cannot be weighed, cannot be measured in length, is not knowledge. From then on, Western concept of knowledge is that which can be quantified. उसका विश्व रूप, इसका राक्षस रूप, इसका complete रूप is your today artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
Then in 1935, one Spatter, he did research on the brain. He said there are two parts of the brain. One part is dedicated to logical thinking. Then it is scientific thinking, mathematical thinking, argumentative thinking. The other half is emotional thinking, linguistic thinking, love-based thinking. Then both of them together form the complete human being. Then, in a perfect human being, the emotions, which are controlled by the right brain and left side of the body, should I repeat?
Yes, yes. No, no, this I understood. This
The
left and right I
uh,
understood.
logic, which is controlled by the left side of the brain and the right side of the body, they are balanced. Then in Ishavasya Upanishad, from mantra number 9 to mantra number 15, in 6 mantras, the Rishi, Ishavasya Upanishad is a very
small, yeah, yeah.
It is only 18. The Rishi spends 6 mantras to bring about the concept of balance. And then Gurudev Ranade has dealt beautifully about it. This balancing of these two, that's why we say Rama Vigrahavan Dharma. About Rama, Valmiki says Sama Vibhaktanda. His emotional half of the brain and the intellectual half of the brain are perfectly balanced. Therefore, he is always in the state of Kevala Kumbhaka.
Aiyo.
That is why when we say Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma, it is not that he is an ideal of, no, his physical body itself was to be something to be meditated upon. Therefore, the Ishavasya Upanishad, it spends 6 mantras, 1/3 of the whole thing on this concept. It takes it as Vidya and Avidya, Sambudhi and Vibhuti. Therefore, this balancing, when you balance them, you get not a static reality, a linear reality, but a dynamic living reality. Then it cannot be expressed in the language of physics. You have to develop a new language. That is emotional. Therefore, that Bennett Coleman, who has written Emotional Intelligence, he says something living, something vibrant, Your fan is rotating, you are trying to put it in the language of three blades. How much of distortion the whole truth suffers. Therefore, Gurudev Rangade's whole thesis is that these six mantras of the Ishavasya operation, Annadevahu Vidya, Annadevahu Vavidya, Iti Shushamadhya Ranami, Anatatvachachvachare, Vidyam cha Vidyam cha Tattvedovayam tha, Avidyaya Mritim Tirtva, Avidyaya Mritam Shanti, Andantamaha Pravishanti, Asambhotim. ततो भूयो चेतमः यौ सम्भूत्यामृतः अन्यदेवाहो सम्भवात् अन्यः असम्भवात् इति उच्यते. This perhaps by my intuition is this Alfred North Whitehead, Bertrand Russell's guru, has stolen this idea and has put it in his own language. Best steals a lot. Anyway, that's not the thing. Therefore, a dynamic reality, because of objectification of the thoughts, has been put as a static reality by the Western. In this context, I will refer one more thing. There was in 1930, there was a conversation between Einstein and Rabindranath Tagore. Then Rabindranath Tagore says, without man there is no universe. It is absolutely Yoga Vasishta. Then Einstein says, no, even if I am not there, then the table is here. I may not be in this room, but my table remains. But Tagore asks, who knows? The table is there because somebody is to appreciate it, somebody has to use it, somebody has to benefit from it, somebody has to make it meaningful. When that person is not there, what is the use of a table? He has taken the idea from Yoga Vasishta. Then again, second time also, Einstein meets Tagore. In Berlin, twice they meet. That to be published in our Kendra Patrika, History of Indian Science. I don't think we published, sorry. It was published in Bhavan Journal. We translated and we published it in Tamil. We do have the original. You access the conversation between Tagore and Einstein in Berlin, 1930. It was a beautiful conversation. Then, about 30-40 years afterwards, Ilya Prigogine comments upon it. 80 years of science has proved the poet was right, the scientist was wrong.
Oh.
That is the punchline of the whole thing.
You mentioned some work of Yellow also during that.
Ilya Prigogine,
Yeah.
Order Out of Chaos.
Order of Chaos.
Order Out of Chaos is a brilliant introduction by Alvin Toffler. A 30-page introduction. Vasudev had that book, Order Out of Chaos. I borrowed it from Reddit. I xeroxed this introduction. He says, though really speaking, analysis and synthesis together make science, but the history of Western sciences, it has given more importance to analysis than to
Synthesis.
That's why the science is not complete. You take things apart, but you don't put them together.
I was that context I was telling you, no? One example which I just read somewhere, somebody was explaining that just imagine they are telling that there is a person sitting on a mountain. Okay. And then another piece of information, there is a bull which is sitting with him. So suddenly, because there is a mountain and the person and the bull, Indian mind, or maybe many people across world, immediately say it's Mahadeva and Nandi. It is not explicitly told, but the scenario which is created there, and I mean the description was more than what I'm telling. I'm just summarily telling. What they are trying to derive from this was, even though isolated man, mountain, and bull can have their own way of understanding, but when they all come together, they give a different. Is that what we were talking? That this is the context in which they are.
Yes, sir. I think one professor of either it may be Jain Mohanty or somebody else, I may be wrong. He has again talked about how any piece of information, it changes the meaning when you put it in the proper context.
Context.
That is why one of the greatest shortcomings of Western method of communication is it takes information out of context.
Hmm.
Therefore, what happens now when you are in a bathroom? I talk something official to you. It looks so silly now.
And technology has aggravated it because now you are reachable everywhere. Any
What
place.
happens now? When you are in your office, when I say something, you will be able to refer to the related facts and say whether I am wrong or right or add to it. But when you are in the bathroom, it is a nuisance. This is what technology does. It hides the whole background and makes uh, the meaning of a word or a sentence or an action less impactful.
There is a it makes it absurd out of the context. And all media today is like that. They will give some news without giving the context of it,
They
and
say you can lift what you are telling me. They can publish as a better. You talked to Einstein yesterday. They can print a picture of
picture of that.
Absolutely. And then why context is important? It relates you to the larger and larger truth, to the ultimate truth. It is the link between you and the ultimate truth. It is an intermediate stage. If you lose the intermediate stage, you lose the whole relation. It is why Western concept, especially after artificial intelligence, Sheldon Pollock, he doesn't have a concept of our aesthetics. The ultimate aim of life is to have the complete happiness, perfect happiness. They don't have a Lord Schrodinger says Western science has missed the concept of taste, the concept of beauty, the concept of good smell. It has lost track of everything that makes life worth living. This is Schrodinger, Nobel laureate's comment
Schrodinger
upon
is telling.
Western science. This is yesterday I was telling about Klaus Klostermeyer's book on nature of nature. No, he has quoted in this to support his thesis. It is the contact which helps you to expand your base of consciousness. Otherwise, without contact, you are imprisoned.
But just one point I just wanted to clarify, because when I was reading this Rutambhara thing and this creativity, we talked about creativity and intuitive this thing, So what he was saying that in most of the yoga class or yoga courses, Panchakosha is taught.
Yeah.
So they say Annamaya Kosha is physical, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha. Then there comes the Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya Kosha. When it comes to Vijnanamaya Kosha, what is found by some of the, I don't remember but they said they are misquoting or mistranslating that stage.
Yo Rama, there is one book by Rajiv Malhotra, the blunder of translation itself.
Sanskrit,
the language which Jesus Christ spoke, it didn't have prepositions. For example, on the table, by the side of the table, near the table. This on, by the side, near, that word is it. When Jesus Christ was walking along the beach, they said he walked across the beach. Therefore, they call it translated miracles. Jesus Christ didn't do the miracles, the translator did it. Because the language is not good enough to realize. That is the beauty of Sanskrit language. Therefore, this Rajiv Malhotra says, much of the Western distortion of Indian scriptures is the translation. There is a complete book on this subject itself.
Yes,
Rajiv Malhotra's book on translating
Sanskrit,
or something. I will prepare myself to come with you.
Yeah. We'll go there.
Yeah.